everybody. Welcome back to Passions Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the soap opera Passions. I am your regular host, LeTara, back again with Michelle and Maria. We got the Eminem crew today. Eminem. Yeah. And the way we, like, Michelle's over here, I'm in the middle on my screen. I'm in the middle, and then Maria's over here on my right. So it's like MLM, like a multi-level marketing scheme.
Oh my God.
We're an MLM. Come and join my team.
Yeah.
You can have. You too can
With
have
each level, you get a free passion shirt.
Well, I don't know about free.
Let's careful what you try to give away.
All right. No, you make enough sales. All right. You turn enough interest into like Patreon sales, and then you get a t-shirt.
If you stick around year round, you might get a little Christmas gift, which some of the Patreons did.
Yeah, I think
they were amazing.
I'm glad you liked it. I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to do something little. Two of them never made it. So Fantasia and Eric, I will be sending y'all like a replacement. I don't know what happened. Got lost in the mail. The holidays are such a rough time for like the mail. So I was surprised that only two got lost because I was very worried about those packages.
Oh.
But I'm glad y'all got them and enjoyed them. So. Speaking of the patrons over on Patreon, let me give y'all shout out. Thank you to Muna Shea, Lisa S, Zach, Sid, Sarana, Randall, Hannah, Camelia, Jeanette, Eric, Jamie, Fantasia, Sean S, Larissa, Maria, Lisa A, Jessica Jean, Laura, Karen, Uche, Paige, Casey, Garrett, Tom Bergeron, Stephen Winthrop, Daisy, Shane, Kelly C, Taylor Harris Crane, DJ, Kelly M, Rodo, Lisa R, Acacia, Natalie, Andrew, Jekyll Hyde, and MB. Of course, Maria and MB are here with us today. Thank you so much. Loving it. Thank you all for continuing to be patrons on the Patreon. And if you want to go join, sign up at patreon.com/passionspodcast and come and hang out with us. We have a good time.
Yeah. It's discussions and sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. That's what makes it fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. And honestly, sometimes the disagreements are more fun than the agreements. Like, sometimes and it depends, and it's particularly depending on who's disagreeing on what. Because everybody's got their own, like, obviously personality and their character and the characters that they love, the characters that they hate, and it's just interesting to hear other people's perspectives on things, And,
And I do want to give a shout out to Fantasia last week. Yep. It was amazing and everything I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So glad she finally made it.
Fantasia is so funny. I was so glad to have her on. Yeah, because she's, like I said, she's been down for the cause for a very long time.
She convinced a few. I'm looking at Beth completely different, and mostly it's her input.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I think before we got to where we are with Beth, she was kind of giving me, she was priming me for these episodes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. She was grooming me for these episodes so that when I got to them, I was like, you know what? Fantasia kind of has a point. Fantasia kind of has a point. So
that's why it's important to have these voices so that we can really appreciate these characters.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a fan of Antonio, don't even try.
Do not come over here.
You will.
It is this. I'm gonna say this. It's a safe space for everybody except anybody who loves Antonio. This is not a safe space for you. I'm sorry. Sorry, but everybody else, I can be convinced.
I'm just picturing you muting anyone who tries to defend Antonio. Like, no, mute, no, we're not listening.
No, I would have to because the other patrons would start a riot. You see, it would become a riot. Like, no. Because we all hate him. Yeah.
And I think we're all also really good about trying to give some characters benefit of the doubt. Like, there's always devil advocates for every single character, regardless if you love them passionately or not. We can't find one redeeming quality with Antonio at all.
Not a single one. Not a single one. I despise him deeply. So we're getting into part 2. 901 through 905. We're going to be talking about the Theresa, Ethan, Gwen of it all, as well as Magic and Kay, our pregnant missing teenager.
Yeah.
My God.
Out in the snow in this blizzard.
Out in the snow. So let's get into what's going on with Theresa at the mansion. I really enjoyed Ivy's eviction last week, and so we pick up at the like tail end of that this week. And so Ivy is being evicted from the mansion. Sam is there to take her away, and either he's got to take her to jail or take her, well, we'll find out. Again, I said this on the podcast last week to Fantasia, because Fantasia was like, he's not going to take her back to his house. He's not going to. I said, have you seen the show, girl? Of course he's taking her back to his house. Of course.
Yep. Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Passions if they don't make these kind of twists.
I would be truly shocked. That would be an actual twist. The real twist would be him not taking her home. Right? So we pick up Ivy is being evicted from the mansion. She looks to Sam for help. He tells her there's nothing he can do legally. If Theresa wants her out, she's got to be out. So Theresa demands that Ivy be thrown out of the house immediately. And Sam says, well, I will arrest Ivy if she doesn't leave. Like, he says, I'll have to arrest you, unfortunately, if you don't agree to leave. And over to the side, Ethan and Gwen are, well, Gwen is more surprised. Ethan was like, well, she doesn't have any legal standing. But Gwen was like, I'm surprised your father isn't defending Ivy more. But it's like, what can he do?
There's nothing. Not legally. There's nothing to be done.
Well, actually, let me take that back. Let me take all of that back. There's actually something he absolutely can do. Because I said this last week, that I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a cop. I don't work in criminal justice or in law. But I know that Ivy has squatters' rights. Even I know that. Even I know she can't be just kicked out. She's not trespassing. That's her home. She lives there. She has the right to stay there. Now, Theresa can serve her with an eviction notice, but I think she has to give her a minimum of 30 days to vacate the premises. So,
and in a lot of states, the longer you live in the home, the longer notice you have to get.
Correct. Yeah. And Ivy's been there for 20 years. She absolutely has rights to be in the home. It's true.
I didn't think of that.
And Sam is so bad at his job, and his son is also so bad at his job that neither of them come up with that solution and telling Theresa, like, hey, girl, actually, by the way, this is illegal. This is an illegal eviction. It's an illegal eviction.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
She has
Theresa's
rights.
more seeing it as like you're a guest, not realizing this has been your home this whole
even
time.
if she was even if she was a guest, she has squatters' rights. Once you let somebody into your home, once you let them come and stay, they have rights. Once they have like set up basically like residence in your home.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Kay wasn't there to like give him the correct.
Kay wasn't there.
Kay wasn't there
to guide her father down the correct path towards like, hey,
exactly.
Yeah.
What should I do, Kay?
Yeah, and Kay would have been like, Father, I do believe that Ivy has squatters' rights. I think case solved, case closed, right?
Case closed. Yep.
But yeah, they don't take that path because they're idiots. So, Sam does plead with Theresa, like, to let Ivy stay at least just until the morning.
Yeah.
But Teresa's like, no, absolutely not. And he says, well, can we take some time to help her find somewhere to stay? Theresa says, fine, but make it quick, right? So Sam's like, okay, Ivy, why don't you call some of your friends, see if they'll let you stay? And Ethan and Gwen are like, we'll call the hotels in the area, see if there's somewhere you can stay. Theresa says to Ivy, take a deep breath of this nice, warm mansion air because soon you'll be out in the cold, Ivy. Down and out. She is relishing in this, and I'm okay with that. I'm so okay with it.
Just notice that she does that when Ethan's not around.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? Actually, I think she would have done it in front of Ethan. Look at what she's doing. Tonight she has crossed the line.
She's standing her ground. No, she's standing her ground in front of him, but the little vicious jabs, she doesn't do that in front of him.
Yes, she did. She did it all last week. Yes, she did. She has and she will do it in front of Ethan. She didn't do it in this moment, but she absolutely has done it. She continues to defend herself afterwards, but she last week, baby girl was baby girling. How about that? She was like, no, this is my house. Ivy, you're a bitch. Like, she called her a bunch of names. So Ivy tries to call her friends. Nobody will let her stay in their home, which I think is a testament to two things. One, Ivy's character, but also the type of people she spends time with, the type of people that she surrounds herself with. So she doesn't have any friends. She says, it seems I don't have any friends anymore, Sam. As Mrs. Julian Crane, I would have had my pick of any room in town, but as Ivy Winthrop, I don't serve as somebody's potting shed. I don't know what that means. What's a potting shed?
Oh, maybe like a soil bed.
I don't know. Whatever. She's saying I'm garbage to them now. And Theresa says, well, that's not my problem. Besides, I'm sure you can find a cardboard box to sleep under a bridge somewhere.
Where Ethan can hear it, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
I just thought that was so, I don't know. Theresa is really feeling herself right now. And honestly, if she would just let Ethan go, she could be so great. You know what I mean? She could be better than Ivy ever was as far as being like Mrs. Crane. But she won't let Ethan go. She won't let Ethan go.
She could have had an alliance with Julian by now if she let go of Ethan. And then Julian wouldn't be trying to work with Rebecca to get her out. She could have so much.
She could have it all except for
all
Ethan.
of it.
Which is honestly is a net positive if you don't have like not having Ethan is a net positive, but she just doesn't see that way. Oh, bless it.
Yep.
So Ivy doesn't have any friends left. Theresa keeps basically laughing at her misfortune. There's a moment where Fox and Julian share like a brief little moment together that I thought was really interesting and I really like. Like they were ruminating on Theresa's strength and her drive, and they both seem to be pretty impressed by her. Julian says that Theresa's an iron maiden with a pair that puts both of us to shame. And so I kind of liked Julian seeing more to Theresa than just like this beautiful body. You know, I like that he actually is kind of like seeing her, and frankly, he's seeing her for who she is, and he likes it. He likes it.
Of course.
Yeah.
He likes that.
And so is Fox, same, because they're like father, like son, right? Then Ethan decides, Ethan has been useless this entire time. And if I'm his mother, frankly, I would be very disappointed in him. As a matter of fact, I think the last episode, she says, like, Ethan, you're a lawyer. Do something. Aren't you supposed? She says, you're supposed to be a lawyer. Do something. And it's like, that's how I feel. Like, you're supposed to be able to do something for your mother. Particularly as it pertains to Theresa. Now, Theresa is standing firm, but I think he could have done more to appeal to Theresa to keep his mama in the house, because he knows.
Of course. He
knows he could have very, very easily manipulated the situation. I assume he just didn't want to because he thinks of himself as this good guy, but you're so good you let your mother end up in the street rather than appeal to Theresa in this moment and manipulate her. He could do it.
Yeah.
And wasn't that his whole excuse for still being in that house? Every time Gwen would be like, we should move. He'd be like, no, my mother needs me here. I need to make sure she doesn't get kicked out.
Exactly.
And he's just watching it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ivy could have easily have pulled him aside, say, threatened to leave. With me. Right. Not in the morning, because later he does threaten to leave, but in the morning. Right there.
Yeah.
Do it right there.
Yeah.
Theresa would have backed down.
That's how she backed down the first time.
Yeah. I I'm like 50-50 on it. I do think Theresa, part of me does think Theresa would have backed down. It makes sense to me that she would have backed down. Another part of me feels like this was a turning point for Theresa. She's doing she definitely is doing something different that we haven't seen her do before. And
I think she would back down because when they did threaten to leave in the morning, she's no, and she got all
true.
like,
ugh,
no.
that's true.
I feel like though that happened though because like she had time to calm down. Ivy had been out of the house for a few minutes. She had been talking to Fox. He had been moaning and groaning to Gwen. So I feel like in the heat of the moment, like that wouldn't have made her back down. If like she was still amped up and she was still thinking about everything Ivy said, she would have been like, you know what, do what you got to do, and then maybe regretted it in the morning, and then be like, okay, yeah, come back.
Yeah,
but like in the heat of the moment,
I disagree. I disagree. You try to take away her shiny toy, she's gonna come right back and focus on her shiny toy.
I can see it happening both ways because the catalyst for this was that she was having a conversation with Fox, and Fox asked her outright, why are you letting my mother stay here? Why are they allowed to stay here? When y'all clearly don't like each other. There's clearly bad blood. And she explained to him, well, I did try to put her out, and then she stopped short, and he says, oh, let me guess, like, you didn't put her out because of Ethan. And you could tell she was like a little bit of ashamed of the fact that he clocked that. And so when Phyllis came to the door and told her all the stuff that they were saying about her, she literally was like, you know what? Actually, I'm going to do something about this. Because she does know that one of the consequences of Ivy being put out could possibly be Ethan leaving with her, right? Mm-hmm. So I do think Michelle makes a good point that it happens to be where her head is at that moment, right? We know how Theresa's head can be all over the place, right? So I do think it's particularly, we have to think about what's her current headspace. And it was different when she decided to kick Ivy out than it was when Ethan said, like, we're gonna leave, and she said no. I do see both. I definitely see both sides of it. I love that y'all are on either side of me, and you have the Gwen shirt, she's got the Theresa shirt, and I've got I wore this shirt basically for this reason, because watching all of this, I was like, this is just a mess. And so my shirt says life update, still a mess, but it should say passions update, still a mess. All of this is still a mess. And I love that y'all are like on either side of me, and I'm just like team mess over here. Because usually I would be in like my team Theresa shirt.
Update.
What, say that again, Michelle?
So that has to be your next shirt. Passions update. It's still a mess.
Passions update. Still a mess. So at this point, Ethan does put a little bass in his voice. He finally kind of truly tries to stand up for his mother. And he says, I will not let my mother spend the night in a cardboard box under a bridge, Theresa. Theresa says, Ethan, Ivy brought this on herself. And Ethan says, she is still my mother, all right, and she needs help. I will drive you to Boston tonight, and you can get a room there. Gwen then says, Ethan, your mother has special needs. And besides, you can't drive around in a storm like this. You could both be killed. Okay, the back half of that, fine. It's a storm outside. You shouldn't be outside driving around. I'll accept that. The front half of your mother has special needs, so she can't go to a hotel in Boston makes no sense to me. Makes no sense to me. What do you mean your mother has who cares if she has special needs? Are the hotels in Harmony the only ADA compliant hotels? You know what I mean? No,
Not
Boston
sure.
would have much better facilities than Harmony would. I think
she was just compounding the fact of like, this is a woman in a wheelchair, you know, like it's gonna be an issue getting her in the car. She's just a little more of a handful, you know, who knows?
She was gonna have to go somewhere
a long
regardless.
drive to Boston.
She's fine. She's been fine. But I don't think Boston's that far. I just thought that was a weird line. That's basically it. Your mother has special needs. What does that have to do with me driving her to Boston and putting her in a hotel? I don't know. And so, but yes, I do agree with the back half of that sentiment, which is it's a storm outside. You really shouldn't be driving to Boston.
Yeah.
And so Sam says, you know, Gwen is right. We're going to have to come up with a solution. And Ethan says maybe we can put her in the cottage. Sheridan and Antonio aren't there, so Mother can stay there. Teresa's like, fuck no. She needs to be off the grounds tonight. I'm with her. Get this. This bitch needs to learn a real fucking lesson. This is called a consequence, bitch. And you're going to learn your lesson tonight. That's I am when I say I am 100% behind Theresa on this in this moment of her putting Ivy out of the mansion. I am 100 to the point that I felt like she should have put all of them out that night. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
I know that
the only one she has power over is Ivy, Ethan, and Gwen. Because Julian can't be evicted. Rebecca can't be evicted.
Right. Julian can't. I obviously was not talking about Julian. And Julian had said that Ivy or Rebecca was his guest, so they're protected, right?
Yeah.
But the rest of them, Ethan and Gwen and Ivy, they can the three amigos can go together. Yeah. Goodbye.
But we know that she won't do that.
She's not doing that, but I'm just saying I was so behind Theresa doing this that I was like, yeah, girl, put them all out. Even though, I mean, I've been saying that. Put them all out. In the storm. I don't care. Go find something. Go find somewhere to be that's not here. Okay? So they want to put it in the cottage. Teresa's like, no. Ethan's like, I've never seen you so cold and unforgiving, Theresa. Theresa says, your mother crossed a line tonight, Ethan, disparaging me, my family, my people, and my son. And there is no going back. Now, please do your job, Chief Bennett. Evict Ivy from my house and do it now. Ivy is distraught. She's lost this round. She has lost this round.
Yep. And Ethan should take note. This is Theresa.
Yeah.
Not the doe-eyed, innocent actor she loves to put on in front of him.
I think Theresa, here's the thing. I think Theresa has definitely, one, been pushed to this point. Two, yes, this was in her, but she started out and she was very doe-eyed and she was very innocent and she was very like naive. And to an extent, she still is in some ways. Like that's definitely part of who she is. But I think this is just part of her growing up. She's now grown into another woman or a different version of herself by virtue of like the shit she has been through and the shit that she has been put through by the people in this house.
She put herself through. She inserted herself into their lives.
I will say though that in this situation, I feel like this is. Yes, there's multiple sides to Theresa. We didn't just see, so we're seeing someone who's just said, okay, you're insulting my baby son, along with my mother. I don't care who the fuck's your son. You need to be out of my house. So when I saw her, I didn't just see someone getting back at, this woman who's been like a bitch to her. I saw her really just finally say, you know what, screw this. I'm defending myself. I'm defending my family. And most importantly, I'm going to defend my son. And Ethan should see that. She's done letting people walk all over her family and insult her family. And there's no way in hell they're going to insult their son. Because how many times has he heard Julian and Ivy and Rebecca refer to her as Tacosita or make all these other side notes about them? And he should know that. You know what? She's not going to put up with it because it's not okay. So like I was cheering her. I'm like, you do it, girl. Tell Ethan to fuck off too.
Tell Ethan to fuck off too. Oh my God, tell Ethan to fuck off too. Particularly,
yes,
we will get there. We will get there. But for me, and I am going to discuss it further, probably a little bit later. But the racism is a non-starter. You have to get out of here, and I have a lot of reasons that why I feel so strongly about it. And I think I don't think that they really give that the gravitas that it deserves. And I will talk about it more, but because I feel like it really connects to the bullshit that Ethan and Gwen say about her and about them being so nice and great to Pilar, and they taking care of her, and like no, because it is riddled with racism, classism. You know what? We'll get there. Right now, Ivy is distraught because she has taken a very rapid fall from grace. Ironic enough. And Rebecca and Julian are taking much delight in Ivy's destruction. So I have a clip called Ivy's Fall from Grace.
What will you do? Where are you going to go?
Just take me to jail, Sam. I still have a roof over my head and 3 squares a day. Oh, God, the shame of this. Oh, the tabloids, they're gonna have a field day. The comeuppance of Ivy Crane. Ivy is going to die of humiliation. She's just gonna curl up and die. Well, yeah, she'll die all right, but curl up? I just don't know if that's possible in her condition.
Oh my God.
You know, I would just love to see Ivy behind bars. Oh, those prison stripes will make her hips look even wider. Oh, maybe I should call the tabloids myself. That way, by tomorrow, everyone will have seen pictures of Ivy Crane in her jail cell.
Rebecca, I'm shocked. I thought you and Ivy were allies in the war against Theresa.
Oh, we are. But there's no honor among thieves, Pookie. I mean, you of all people should know that.
Yeah, momentary lapse. I was thinking about Theresa, how I can't help but admire her. She's managed to accomplish in one night what I couldn't in over 20 years. Give Ivy the old heave-ho.
All right, this is insane, all right? There has to be some place where Mother can stay tonight besides jail. Dad, come on. I mean, there must be something you can do.
You're right, Ethan. There is something I can do. I know where Ivy can stay.
Where can you take Mother?
Ivy can stay with me.
Boo.
She can stay at my house tonight.
Look at Rebecca.
Look at Ivy.
You're taking Mother to your house tonight?
Nice.
Oh, this is Ivy's dream come true. She's practically drooling.
Come on, Ivy, let's go.
Thank you, Sam. I can't tell you how much this means to me.
I'm so glad that my father's taking care of my mother.
I am too, but I mean, what about Grace? And how is she gonna feel about all of this?
Yeah, how is Grace gonna feel all about this? Not great, I'm sure. I would wager. So
I find it interesting that Julian is praising Theresa on something that he hasn't been able to accomplish. You could have kicked her out too. At this point, you could have did exactly what she did. Well,
Yeah.
why are you giving her the credit if you could have did it? You
I think
just
what
didn't
he's
have
saying-
the balls to do it.
I think it's because Ivy had managed to strike up enough of a relationship with Alistair to where Alistair liked her enough and wanted her in the house. So, like, didn't I see that, like, a few times where whenever Julian would mess up? No?
the reason that Ivy was still in the house was basically that Ethan was trying to fight the divorce in court. And Maria's right. Maria's right. Julian could have kicked her out at any point. I don't know why he didn't do that. I think the only thing I can think is that the only thing that I can think is that kind of like what he's been saying all night is basically that he didn't have the balls to do it like Theresa does, basically.
Exactly.
Like, basically he's saying, like, that's cold even for a crane, right? Like, he could have. I agree with Theresa. I almost called you Theresa, Maria.
Girlfriend, that's why I had to change the look.
Change the
Oh,
wigs.
God.
I love it. I'm sorry. No, I think I agree with Maria that he could have kicked her out at any time. He just didn't. And I think also, I also think Julian still loves Ethan. Also, that's something that we have like established, that he still has cares for Ethan. And he knows it would have hurt Ethan. So I think he just didn't have the balls to do it. I think he didn't have the ice in his veins to do it. He felt like it would have been too cruel, too cold.
Oh, I guess Eve made him too soft, because he's cold enough to try to kill his sister.
He don't give a fuck about Sheridan. He doesn't care about Sheridan. He cares about Ivy more than he cares about Sheridan. God.
I wonder
you know
also.
what? The thing is, he tried to kill his sister, but that was because he wouldn't have done it if Alistair hadn't made him, told him
true.
to do it, right?
That's
like
true.
he was being puppeteered by his father to do that. If Alistair had told him to kill Ivy, he would have.
That's true.
Yeah.
And she's easy now. I mean, she can't walk, so
Yeah.
just disable a chair.
Sure.
I wonder if also he was keeping her around because it gives something for Rebecca to communicate. Someone for Rebecca to talk to.
No.
and keep her from him all the time. Like, to
I
give a
don't
break.
think so.
No,
I don't
Okay.
think so. I think
because he did say, he's like, I'm surprised you're not on her side, and she's like, there's no honor amongst thieves.
Yeah, they're uneasy. They've been uneasy allies for some time now, but
And honestly, like the minute they succeed and get what they want, it'll be Ivy and Rebecca against each other again.
right. So it's like for Rebecca, it's like Theresa did the work for me.
Mm-hmm.
She took care of that for me. So
Yeah.
yeah. So Sam's gonna take Ivy to his house. That is in chaos, by the way, but we will get there. Ethan.
Sam doesn't know how much it escalated
Well, it was
because Kay hadn't left yet.
But Kay was smashing shit before he left. He never should have left. That's that.
It was his
I
job
think
called.
So fucking what?
I'm just iterating what the
No.
show said.
No.
His
Yeah,
job called, and he had to handle it, and no one else was able to because they're, the roads are blocked and blah blah blah, and it's dangerous out there. So
His job called. He knows these people at the mansion. He could have called Theresa and been like, "Hey, what's going on at the mansion?" He could have called his fucking son. He could have called Ethan and said, "Hey, what's going on at the mansion? I'm having a domestic dispute of my own at my house. Like, do you really need somebody up there, or what is actually going on?" There are other choices he could have made beyond leaving his home in complete chaos. Because when Kay was smashing shit, she was going on a rampage in that house.
Yeah.
Wasn't she packing her bags at that point too?
Yeah, she was ready to go. She was going to leave. He in fact told Grace, he was like, "Oh, she's not gonna go anywhere in this storm. Like, it's storming outside. Of course she's not gonna leave in this storm." Never once did he go back upstairs to check on Kay. Never once did he go to see like where she was at. He said she's probably sleeping. You didn't go see if she was sleeping. You don't know that. And so no, we're not even there yet, but I'm pretty firmly on Grace's side as it pertains to him leaving in that moment and like what happened and everything. But not that it's his fault, but we'll get there. Anyway, Ethan tells Theresa he's never seen her be so cold and unforgiving, and she of course is like, she deserved it. But Theresa begs Sam not to take Ivy with him to consider Grace's feelings. She's like, please don't take this woman into your home. You are asking for disaster. That sounds like a Pilar line, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, like mother, like daughter. That's such a Pilar thing to say. Please do not take this woman into your home. You are asking for disaster.
Yeah.
And Sam tells her, "Look, Theresa, I don't understand how you could throw a woman in a wheelchair out into a blizzard, but since you insist, I have to find a place for her. And since all the hotels are booked, I'm taking her to my house." Theresa says, "Chief Bennett, I know that Grace is the kindest, most understanding wife in the world, but if you take this woman home, this lying, conniving snake in the grass, I don't think Grace will be I don't think Grace will be very understanding at all. So she's advocating for Grace. I liked this too, but I also, Sam's like, well, are you going to let her stay here? And she's like, absolutely fucking not. Absolutely the fuck not.
You can't offer any other suggestions? Well, this is what's going to happen.
Ivy already gave the suggestion. Put her in the jail cell.
Lock her up. Actually, Sam has a bed at the station. So he could just let her stay at she doesn't have to be locked up in a jail cell. He could take her back to the station and she could stay in his office. He was sleeping there for a while himself. When Grace put him out. So he could take her there.
Maybe Hank's there. Maybe someone's using it. I mean, let's just, I guess, believe that that's not an available option.
No, there's so many options. They decided to take
Gwen could have called her father, Jonathan, and be like, could you just do me a favor and take Ivy?
Yeah.
Or what about the Winthrop? Wasn't her father the governor or something? You're going to tell me the father's not going to take her?
Yeah.
I'm assuming her dad's dead because we never see him.
We don't really know whether he's alive or not. But I mean, Alistair's still alive, so I don't know. It's possible.
I mean,
evil never dies.
If she really needed a place to go, she could have always blackmailed Eve to stay at her house.
Yeah, she
for real.
But Ivy's getting everything Ivy wants.
Exactly. It's like you're offering Sam on a silver platter at this point.
It's a question of Sam's choices. What Sam should be doing in this moment. And should he be taking this woman back to his home where his wife is already in distress? Mm-hmm. No, he shouldn't. He should have found something else to do. Actually, I was gonna say Pilar's house, honestly, because even though they're at odds, Pilar would have let Ivy stay.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, Pilar would have let Ivy stay.
But would Theresa interfere with that though? Because that is her mother.
She might try, but it's Pilar's house. It's not Theresa.
That Theresa just built.
Yeah, Theresa. But legally, if we're talking legally, it is not Theresa's home. It's Pilar's home. So. Yeah, she would not. She's using her legal rights here.
Yeah,
Pilar can do the exact same thing if she wanted to, but it don't matter because none of that fucking happened. What did happen was Sam finally leaves with Ivy, saying that I gotta do what I gotta do, Theresa.
Once do you think there's a small part of him that's like, yeah, this isn't a great idea. Grace is gonna be upset, but fuck it, David. You know what I'm saying? He's so jaded with the whole David thing that he's like, she's just gonna have to get over it, just like she shoves David down my throat. Because why is he in my house right now?
It's just. Go ahead, Michelle.
I was gonna say, I think so subconsciously, because no matter. Grace is constantly throwing Ivy into his face, even though he has. I mean, he's been a little bit iffy sometimes, but he does try to keep proper boundaries between himself and Ivy, and he himself has told Ivy, right now the only thing between us is that we have a son together. Grace has never done that with David. It started off with, I just want to know my history and I want to get to know my son. She has let this man sleep in her damn bed, but won't let her own husband sleep in there.
And she still don't know anything about her past. Many lines. And she still doesn't know anything about her past.
Exactly. David still told her fuck all. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we know why. I know shit, but still, at some point, I can understand what's something's gotta fucking give, because she wants me to be this perfect guy and ignore Ivy, but she gets to do whatever the hell she wants to. I don't think at the top of his head he's fuck her, but yeah, I do think subconsciously there's a lot of anger towards Grace because he's been trying to hold it all in that might be coming out in this decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Before Ivy actually leaves, she does take a final little jab at Theresa, as she should in this moment. What she got to lose, right? Because Ethan and Gwen offer to take Ivy anywhere she needs to go, which I felt was odd, because I was like, we've already established she has nowhere to go, so I don't know what you're talking about. Sam's already gonna take her somewhere, so whatever. But then Ivy says, That's sweet, really, darlings. But no, I wouldn't dream of taking Gwen out in her condition. Or you, sweetheart. I want you to stay here, all warm and cozy and taking care of my grandchild to be. Oh, thank God my grandchildren are humanitarians who value human life, unlike the help's offspring. She's not, listen, she's not garnering any fucking sympathy from me. None.
If anything, she kind of won that because she got to go with Sam. Ivy is like a cat with 9 lives. Like, yeah, she's out of the house, but like she doesn't want to be at the house now. Like if Theresa would have been like, never mind, she can stay at the cottage, Ivy would have been furious.
Yeah,
exactly. I think the second Sam offered the house, she was like, oh yeah, evict the fuck out of me.
Yeah,
let's do this.
Let's leave.
Let's
wrap this up.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Wrap it up. Theresa could be like, no, you can stay at the cottage. No, you want me off the ground? I'm going to get off the ground.
Nah, I'm off the ground. She would have
stood 10 toes down. Let's go, Sam.
Yeah, Theresa definitely gave her a little present there. She, you know, inadvertently she helped Ivy out a lot. So Sam and Ivy finally do leave, and everybody, once they leave, the whole room is kind of like giving Theresa these like very judgmental stares. All but Fox. Fox isn't giving her like a judgmental stare, but he definitely, you can tell he feels a little uneasy about what has just like transpired, right? And she yells at them, "What are you all staring at? This is my house, and I get to say who stays and who goes." Then Ethan makes his feelings known to Theresa. I have this clip called "Ethan is garbage," and y'all better buckle in.
It's his mother, so I'm going to be on his side. It's his mother.
He's a classist.
No,
it doesn't matter.
It's his mother, but there's no excuse for he didn't make the correct arguments, which I shouldn't be surprised about, considering he's such a horrible lawyer, right? But he does not make the correct arguments. I get that that's his mother. Look, I love my mama as much, if not more than everybody, right? But I would not resort to these kinds of talking points even for my mom. You know what I mean? Like, I would have other much better talking points for my mom. I also would just go with her. I also would just go with my mama, right? Like, if it's going to be all that, I don't even want to be here. I don't feel safe here. I don't feel like it's safe here for my mother. So we're going to leave together. Yeah. So anyway, Ethan, here we go. Let's find it. I can't stand him.
Hey, I don't know why you guys are looking at me like I've got 3 heads. All right? Ivy deserved to be tossed out on her fat behind. And I'm glad that I was the one to do it. You didn't hear the terrible things that she said about me and my mother.
Theresa, I know my mother can be difficult.
Difficult?
Yeah, a bit of an understatement, don't you think?
No matter what she said, she didn't cause you any physical harm.
Ethan, your mother has been a monster to me and my mother.
My mother has given your mother a job.
Teresa's going to say what needs to be said in a minute, but that right there, I was like, God, what do you see in this awful man? My mother gave your mother a job. Am I supposed... did she give her like a huge salary? Did she give her like benefits? Pilar was riding the bus to work. She was doing so much great stuff Ivy was a billionaire, and she didn't even help pay off their house. Like, anyway.
At the same time, Pilar wouldn't take the money anyway. She took
the money to begin with to buy it.
And not just that,
as a job, as earning it. How many times have she yelled at Theresa about that's blood money? And we've had that discussion so many times that somehow it's blood money if it's just given to you, but it's not blood money if you're working for it.
Okay, even with that argument, let's say she wouldn't accept a raise. What Ivy could have done was not let Pilar and her family be kicked out of the cottage so Sheridan could live in it. Or at the very least, be like, oh, I'm sure there's another place on here that they could live.
Yeah, but that's Alistair. And she has no power over Alistair and what Alistair wants.
This talking point my mother gave you know what? Actually, let's finish the clip and then we'll come back to this.
All these years.
Ivy was very...
Let me go back.
Ethan, your mother has been a monster to me and my mother.
My mother has given your mother a job all these years.
Ivy was very good to your mother, Theresa. She was a friend to Pilar, and as a favor to her, she hired you as her personal assistant.
And my mother completely trusted you, Theresa.
Ivy put a roof over the entire Lopez Fitzgerald family most of your life. Ivy didn't do my mother any favors, okay? My mother worked very hard for her money. And she kept all of Ivy's secrets.
Oh, I must remember to thank Pilar.
Theresa, I love your mother. But my mother is not the monster that you make her out to be.
Oh, but
Yes, she is.
Keep going, Theresa. You'll make Ethan wind up hating you. This may work out after all. Ivy took one for the team, but it just might pay off. So Ethan is totally disgusted with Theresa. Isn't it wonderful?
You should be proud of her. A young wife is a constant revelation.
Neil, I wouldn't give her an award just yet, Pookie. She might just turn on us, try to throw us out into the snow.
This is my house, but I suppose she could try. When are you going to get that secret information that will allow us to be rid of my hot tamale?
Soon, very soon. And I hope you're willing to cough up some big bucks so I can pay off my informant.
I can write a blank check as long as it gets rid of my so-called bride.
I can't believe how cruel Theresa can be. Ethan, how can you stand to be in the same house as someone who would treat your mother so horribly?
It's hard for me to believe, too, Gwen.
Please, just wait a minute, okay? You didn't hear the terrible things that your mother said about me and my family. You don't know how vicious she can be.
Maybe not, but I have seen how vicious you can be.
Ethan, I don't think we should stay in this house any longer. You know, why don't we just move out?
No,
Morning.
you can. Ivy, she deserved to be thrown out. Ethan, you don't know the horrible things that she said about me.
I don't care what she said. I would never have believed that you would be so cold and heartless to a defenseless woman in a wheelchair.
Defenseless my ass.
You know, maybe you're right, Gwen. I was only here because of my mother, and now that she's gone, well, there's really no reason for us to continue living here, so why don't we go upstairs and talk about that?
Yep.
No, Ethan, please wait.
I warned you to be careful of those women. My mother and Rebecca.
Don't worry. I'm not going to let them win. Okay, first, I had to divide them. And now I'm going to conquer them.
I like the way you think.
One thing that I had not, one thing that I meant to kind of bring up and forgot to is that Theresa's pretty much drunk at this point too. She and Fox had been upstairs drinking. And now you see, like, in every scene she has a champagne glass in her hand. She's been drinking all night. So that's another, like, back to Michelle's point about, like, her being in two different headspaces. Like, she's drunk. She's not thinking linearly, I don't think, but whatever. I agree with the drunk decisions she's making. I think they're great. Maybe she should drink more. But we have to unpack this clip. Y'all, there is something so sinister about these two white people who grew up in the highest echelons of society, who grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth, and are still very much enjoying the privileges of wealth, right? And whiteness in general. Saying to this young woman who is some sort of Latina. I believe Mexican, but last week they also said that her family likes sangria. I don't know. But
I think sangria is
Spanish. Yeah. It's from Spain. Like, I'm not saying that they can't drink sangria in Mexico. Of course they can. Of course, I drink sangria. I make sangria all the time. But that's not part of my heritage. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, it doesn't matter because I believe she's Mexican. So let's call her, let's say she's Mexican, right? These two white people who grew up in the highest level of society, enjoying the privileges of wealth and whiteness, and they look at this young woman and tell her how grateful she needs to be for the fact that that my mother gave your mother a job as a servant, was working. Like, when we started this show, Luis was complaining that Pilar worked too much. And that's one of the running jokes on the podcast, is that Pilar's always at work. She's always there. And especially in the early episodes, she was just like always there. She spent more time on Ivy and Ivy's children, or Ivy's main child, than she did with her own. That's something she talks about. That's something she talked about. She regretted and then she lamented, right? This was low. This was and if I were Theresa, unfortunately, and this is one of the reasons I wore this shirt this week and not my Theresa shirt, because that right there would have been it for me. Is like, you have crossed such a horrible line that I can't come back from. And then he goes further and says, I don't care. She didn't cause you any bodily harm. People, what a lot of white people in particular get wrong about racism is that it is violence. It doesn't have to be, violence doesn't have to always be explicit, right? Racism, racist speech, racist thought is very violent. And there's a very violent history in this country of racism, extremely violent. You cannot tolerate it. You have to root it out. Because if you tolerate it, it can very easily, well, these bitches already tried to kill Theresa. They already fucking tried to kill her. Okay? And I know I'm on a little soapbox, but I do take, we laugh about it sometimes on the show about like the little jokes that they make. And it's like, but in this moment, Theresa has decided, you know what? Enough is enough. And for me, the racism, it seems, was like the final straw, like at this point in this night, right? Like, she was being awful about her family, but it was rooted in racist remarks, right? It wasn't that, it wasn't, oh, Pilar, she's so stingy. It wasn't like, oh, Pilar, she's so Catholic, or Pilar, she's so devout, she's too Christian. No, it was, oh, those people, there's so many of them coming from the border, and they're insanely refried there's huge refried bean family. It was awful rhetoric. And it could only get worse and worse and worse. And that's why I stand 10 toes down with Theresa in this night about her putting Ivy out. I do wish that she would have also went further with Ethan and said, you know what, Ethan, if you stand behind what your mother said, then you know what, you're right. We don't belong together. We are not meant for each other. So please pack your shit and see yourself out. She didn't do that. And that's the thing that divorces me from this whole situation of like the Theresa Gwen thing. Again, I'm at still a mess, because this is a mess. This is a mess. But I had to stop and say that. The racism is so incredibly dangerous, and too often it gets chalked up to, oh, it's just words. It's just words. No, guess what? The last fucking word that a lot of people who were lynched heard was racist words. Racist words lead to racist actions. And I'll leave it at that for y'all. I'll leave it at that. I can't abide it. I cannot abide it. All right. So, all right, I'm done. Go on.
It's so heavy. It's kind of hard to retort from that.
No, you know what? It put me in a really bad negative headspace. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it at
and
all.
I totally kind of agree with you, but at the
I
same
think
time,
it also-
it's like, you know, like what Ethan said, it was kind of a below the belt, but it's not like he wasn't wrong, because he never fired Pilar after. Ivy never fired Pilar after everything that's happened.
But
she
that's
could have.
because she knows everything that was in Ivy's closet. And let's be real, like they're saying, oh, they put a roof over your head. That would be like my boss saying to me, I put a roof over your head. You did not. You hired me because I was the best for the job. And quite frankly, you could probably pay me less than someone you would with a degree.
And she can easily also fire her.
Like,
and then they will have a job.
But they've been exploiting Pilar. That's the other portion of this. Pilar has been heavily exploited. And I love the fact that Theresa says, my mother worked for everything she got. You didn't give her a goddamn thing. She worked for it. She worked for it. And so that's also where like the classism definitely falls in too. It's like, you have never even had a real job where you had to do any kind of labor, any real labor, okay? So please shut the fuck up and seek yourself out. But Theresa won't say that. Theresa won't say it.
I will never forget the scene, which I know they weren't there for, because Julian was always at his worst with Ivy when when no one else was there. But I will never forget the scene where Julian wanted to know what was in that briefcase. And I honestly thought he was going to strangle Ivy to get it from him. He was yelling and screaming. And in comes Pilar to get Ivy or Julian out of that room. And I remember Julian saying, no, get out. This is da da da. Pilar stood 10 toes down for Ivy. No questions, no nothing. Knowing that Julian could fire her. Knowing that Julian could probably bury her in the backyard and not a damn thing would be done. Ivy shouldn't fire her, because Ivy did more for her than I would guarantee you anyone else has ever done for Ivy.
And let us not forget, Ivy's hate of Theresa is rooted in nothing in reality. As a matter of fact, I will cite an episode where even Ivy said it was unlikely that Theresa actually was the one who sent that stuff to the tabloid, but she had just decided to scapegoat her. She had just decided, I hate her regardless, right? Ivy actually has no reason to hate Theresa as much as she did when she started hating her. Now they've been going back and forth, tit for tat, right? But the root of it is actually rooted in nothing. But
true.
Ivy is too.
Not true.
What? So tell me.
I will disagree.
What?
Teresa should have never scanned the letter.
I knew you was gonna say that. Teresa never should have scanned the letter. Fine. Teresa never should have scanned the letter.
There would have never been a digital
Ivy's
copy of the letter.
about, though. Ivy's upset. Ivy has scapegoated her.
Of it. That's where it started. If she didn't scan it.
Ivy is scapegoating her and saying that Theresa is the one who sent it to the tabloids, even though she herself has said she probably didn't do that. It doesn't make sense for her to do that. But she has decided to put her ire on Theresa instead of finding who actually ruined her life. Which, girl, look in a mirror, right? You ruined your life. She has ruined her life. But
it is like shooting the messenger. You were the one that kept the secret. It's not like the secret isn't true.
Right. So, yeah.
Like, I can understand why Gwen hates Theresa. I can understand 100%. Where like it's 50-50 between the two of them being at fault. With Ivy and Theresa in the beginning, I 100% blamed Ivy, because she scanned the letter. She was a teenage girl. She was confused. She was angry. She had a lot of thoughts going on at the time. She reacted. Ivy had been holding on to this secret for years, knowing that Julian was looking for dirt on her, knowing that Rebecca is now looking for dirt on her, now knowing that Sam has had suspicions of Ethan being her son. And instead of just burning all of the evidence, go take it to a house with all these kids in it, with people who go in and out. Like, go do that. That was 100% on Ivy. Yes, Theresa made a mistake,
but she eventually came to that
shouldn't have even
conclusion.
existed.
She eventually came to the conclusion and had it burned. But by then, Theresa had already scanned it, so there was already a digital copy.
But too little, too late on Ivy.
Well, no, she didn't know that her letter got scanned by a teenager.
She never should have kept it.
And my biggest thing is with all that she claimed.
At the end of the day, she's the one that fucked Sam on her wedding night and had his baby and pretended and passed it off as Julian's and then kept all the mementos about it and then handed them to Pilar to take care of, where Pilar only had one motherfucking closet in her damn house. And then she's the one that did that. Yes. Ivy has no one to blame for her predicament but herself. And it's interesting because I've said that about Theresa a time or two, right? Mm-hmm. They are so similar, and we're going to talk about that. Her and Fox have a conversation where they talk about how similar they are, and it's interesting because Theresa recognizes it. Ivy refuses to acknowledge it. She's in denial about it. Because she thinks that she's better than Theresa by virtue of where she was born and how she was born, the world she was born into, right? She thinks she's better than Theresa, so she's never going to be able to, until she lets go of her classism and her racism, frankly, she's never going to be able to accept the fact that she and Theresa are actually quite a lot alike.
And actually, I will say her hatred and racism and classism has actually overridden her love for Ethan. Because if it had been anyone else, if it had been like her suspecting Gwen but wasn't sure, she would have dug deeper. But even when it was Theresa, like, she even kind of made the point, I could actually see that being something more Rebecca would do.
She did.
But she never looked further into it, despite knowing that if Rebecca's in on something, there's a good chance Gwen is. So all for saying, I don't want my son with the liar, she knows at the back of her mind there is every chance that her son is with the liar, is with the person who, quote unquote, ruined his life. But she hates Theresa so much, she's pushed that thought out of her head.
Yeah.
I mean, but the evidence is still a little compelling because it did come from Theresa's computer, and she knows that Theresa scanned it.
Okay, that's the evidence that it came from Theresa's computer. What was I watching recently where I was like, this is so stupid. I hope that they figured this out. But it was like obvious because why would I send it from my email?
Well, because
right?
Theresa's
Why would
an idiot anyway.
From my
Why
email?
scan it? Like, you're an idiot. She's an idiot.
No, I don't think she is an idiot. I think she's
rash. Remember, we forget she was on the plane and the bitch next to her was like, you should send it. And she was steps away of doing it and then just backed off from doing it. She was going to do it from her computer.
Maybe.
But that was when she was taken off to go, and it wouldn't have mattered. She was taken off to go, it wouldn't have mattered.
Exactly.
See, my big thing is, I
revenge.
think Theresa is smart, but she's also rash. She's very smart, but she sometimes acts before she thinks. But I think even if she had sent it, it would have been with the knowledge, it's not going to bite back on me because I no longer give a shit. I'm out. I'm going to be in another country. She was doing the on her way up from another country. I can't foresee Theresa even being mad enough to send it out, knowing she's going to have to stand there and Ivy's going to kill her.
It goes to show to her character where it's like, well, since I can't have Ethan, I'll send it and fuck his life up anyway. It was more like, I lost, so I'm going to do it because I lost.
Yes, Anne. I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem. No, because you have to think about what was going on at that moment, right? Like, in her mind, she's being sent away. Ethan has screwed her over. He has completely lied to her face. He is she had been manipulated, of course. She also was a child at that point still, really. I have stopped saying that because I know how much you hate it when I say it. But she's not a child.
Games, win adult prizes.
Because she's not a child now. She's not a child now, but she was a child then. And so that was also one of the caveats. Because the difference is Gwen went along with that flat out. She went along with it. She did it. She said, okay, this is what we're going to do. So, I think it boils down to, okay, Theresa was going to do it, but Gwen did do it. Right? Theresa was, and Theresa never actually did it. And then it's like, why did she scan the letter? We will never know the real reason. It's left to our own interpretations. She was going to do something with it for sure, though, right? She didn't know what. She didn't know when.
She was going to use it. She's like, this can help her get Ethan.
Right. But yes. She was going to use it. Thank you for jogging my memory. She had considered.
She was going to tell Ethan himself,
telling
though.
Ethan, exactly.
Yeah.
She had considered telling Ethan. Pilar was the one who told her, who talked her off of that and told her not to, and was for Ivy, right? She did that for Ivy. It all boils back down to Ivy has ruined her own life, and she scapegoated Theresa for it. That's all that's what it boils down to for me. Yeah, it really does. So whatever. Theresa and Fox go back to Theresa's room, and they have more champagne. They've been drinking all night. Okay, they have more champagne. He makes a toast to a very beautiful woman with a very cold heart, and Theresa's like, "What do you mean? What?" And he's like, "You just tossed a wheelchair-bound cripple," which okay. Out of a house she's lived in for 20 years without batting even one of those amazingly long eyelashes of yours. I never met anyone quite as ruthless as my mother, but you win that contest hands down. And he goes on to say, even my amoral father and his tardy little mistress were shocked when you showed her the door tonight. And Theresa says, I don't care what Rebecca and Julian think of me. And then Fox is like, but you don't care about what they think of you, but what about Ethan? And she's like, well, Ethan will get over it. Which she's not wrong, right? Like, she's not
not
wrong.
right now. Right now, Ethan is furious.
No, right now, but she said he will get over it. Is implying in the future he'll get past it. Like, he's upset with me now, but he'll get over it. And she's right about that. He does get over it. And she's like, Ethan is the first person to stand up for his convictions. And she says that I was defending my honor and the honor of my family. I mean, you heard the nasty things your mother was slinging around about me and my child. And then she recalls all the insults, blah, 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 mongrel, spawn of the barrio, whatever, Taco Bella, whatever.
I mean, not that I'm going to defend Ivy at all, because it's still despicable. It's not like she was really saying it to Theresa. She was having a private conversation with Rebecca. It was an insulated conversation, not meant
in Theresa's house, though.
Boom. There are no private conversations in my house. There are no private conversations in my house in a public space. Exactly. If you want to have a private conversation, have it in your bedroom. Why are you having in the shared public space? No, she did. It's because she didn't give a fuck if Theresa heard her. Because the thing is, no, Ivy wasn't saying it to her face, but Ivy would have said it to her face. She did continue to say it to her face. She said worse things to her face. So, like, there's just no defense of Ivy. There's no defense of Rebecca. There's no defense of Ivy. I can't.
And that whole thing was Ivy clearly wanted to be heard, because the whole thing started because Phyllis had said, hey, you guys got to go. Theresa wants to clean up so they can be set up for a meeting. And Ivy and Rebecca said no. And then we're shocked when she came down to hear all of that. Like, so no, like, private conversation, my ass. Take it out of this room that I need as the owner of this house. And 2, don't have it in my house, period. Write each other love notes, but don't speak on my son or myself in my home.
Thank you for bringing that up. Like, the fact that Phyllis was the one who, because that the other part of that is, they were having a conversation, but they were having that conversation in front of the staff, right? Like,
they don't give a shit about that. It's not like
but that's the thing. It's not a private conversation. If you're having it in front of staff, you're not having a private conversation. You're actually making a show and trying to, like, mark your territory and say, like, I'm the real Mrs. Crane or what have you. And, like, she's just what they called her, a loitering Latina, right? And because Phyllis came upstairs and told her, like, they're saying some really racist things about you downstairs, and I feel uncomfortable. And they wouldn't let us clean. So, again, there is simply no defense of Ivy this week. Once again, Ivy has just dug herself into a very bad hole, but somehow came out
winning.
Yeah.
Winner.
But somehow came out winning.
I would have laughed so hard if Theresa was like, you know what? No one's there. I can be fair. You go use the cottage and you can find a hotel tomorrow. Just to nail that in there.
Oh, no. Ivy would have been like, no. You wanted me off the premises, so I'm leaving. Let's
Sam,
go,
I
Sam.
don't think would have let her do that though. Sam, I think would have been in that mind. You know, Ivy, it will cause issues. So if we have another home,
He would have tried. He would have tried.
Insisted.
Ivy would have found a way to talk circles around him where he's like, oh, okay, I guess I will take you home with me, right? Like she
It's
would
not wheelchair accessible,
exactly.
Sam.
She'll be like,
There's a step in the front. There's a step.
Exactly. Then you have to step down into the living space. Like I can't do that. If there's a fire, I'll be trapped alone. Like easy. That's easy. Light work. Light work for Ivy.
Yep.
Light work for Ivy.
Yep.
So Theresa and Fox having this conversation. Theresa is, defending herself. She said, Fox is like, Theresa, my mother is disabled. And Theresa says, disabled my foot. I mean, a snake isn't handicapped if it still has its fangs. No, your mother is just as poisonous now as she's ever been. And what happened to her tonight was well deserved. She goes on. She keeps going. She goes on. She says, I would have thought you would applaud me for tossing Ivy out of the mansion. Since when do you care what happens to her? After everything you told me about the kind of mother Ivy never was to you, I think you'd hate her guts. And Fox is like, I don't hate her. I just never loved her. It's sad. I'm laughing, but what Fox basically says, and this is the bulk of their conversation upstairs. The vast majority of this conversation is Fox telling Theresa about his childhood, his upbringing, and his resentment towards Ethan and what it's rooted in, right? And so he says, I don't hate her. I just never loved her. I think you have to be loved as a child to learn how to give any back, which was really sad. I do feel for Fox. I do. He says, God only knows why I felt so protective over her when I saw you were serious about giving her the boot. If the situation were reversed, that lady would give me a kick on the way out. And then he starts talking about Ethan, I think Ethan is his favorite subject. I think Ethan has to be every road leads back to like, yeah, but Ethan was the golden boy. He was the heir and I was the spare. Like, that's the conversation. He says that lady would stand in front of a moving train for my half brother. So, and he just keeps lamenting how Ivy favored Ethan above him and her other two children, right? And he realizes now that she did that because of who his father was, and he's grappling with his feelings around Ivy. It's fascinating to watch. I'm interested to see how they how we progress from here, because it does seem like he would like to have a relationship with Ivy. Of course, it does seem like he would like to have a better relationship with Ivy. He just doesn't know where to start, which honestly, he's the child, so it shouldn't be incumbent upon him to do the starting. But I think he also knows that like Ivy is not.
Ivy doesn't care about him.
Yeah, he feels that she's not interested.
When she was getting kicked out, she was pleading with Ethan to find a way. She didn't at once acknowledge Fox for help.
Yeah, she thinks he's useless.
Yeah.
I will say it goes to show, because like Ethan was raised by both Julian and Ivy. They were both very hands-on with him, and they did not care about any of their other kids. And if I am comparing Fox to Ethan, like, yeah, Ethan might have the big shiny job as a lawyer, but I think Fox is way better a person in general than Ethan is, because one, he's self-aware. He doesn't think that he's, better than all the other rich people. He knows he's like the classic rich boy. He's a hell of a lot less judgy, and he's just more personable, and I feel like he has more street smarts. Yeah. Ethan is the exact opposite in all of the worst ways.
And that's such a great, you said it all. You said everything I wanted to say and then some. And to add on to that, Fox basically says that. He basically says, like, maybe they did me a favor by not doting on me, because I feel like, I'm doing fine. I'm doing okay. And he's like, I wasn't the golden child, but I'm okay with that. I don't think he is okay with that. He says it, he's trying to convince himself that he's okay with it because he keeps bringing it up and complaining about how Ethan was treated by Julian, Alistair, and Ivy versus how he was treated by them. And to that I say I appreciate. First of all, I will say, I don't know why I said first of all, we on like 20,000 of all.
If anything, it shows that Ivy is consistent to treating the spawns of Julian disregard.
Horribly.
She has no care for any of his spawn, from her or from Theresa.
Yeah. I do wonder, because Ivy stopped sleeping with Julian at a certain point. Like when we pick up the show, they're not sleeping together at all. But obviously they slept together at least 4 times, right? Because they have the 3 kids together and he thought Ethan was his.
Yeah.
But I am curious, like, what was that relationship like? Because yes, I said at least 4 times. And yes, Passions is bad about like the first one time you have sex, you get pregnant. But realistically, they would have had to have a good amount of sex to have 4 kids together. So I'm interested about that like portion of their relationship was,
Ivy and
like
Julian had said at one point, that the relationship started out okay. Like, because at the beginning, Julian was kind of he liked Ivy enough, but he was putting on a show that he loved her more than he did for her father. And Ivy had believed it. So I could see it being that after she figured it out, like what was going on, she kind of went with the motions. And then when she did what she had to do, she just cut it off.
Okay. You know what? I'll accept that. Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah. And I think she needed to play nice because she knew she was carrying another man's baby who she wants to raise as a crane.
That's true. That's a good point too. All right. Yeah, because she had talked about that was like her ultimate revenge was like that Ethan was going to take over the keys to the kingdom even though he wasn't a crane. So that's good point. Thank you. Sometimes it's been so much. We're into episode 905. It's been so long. Some of those finer details get lost. So it's nice to kind of go back and
plus they rewrite history a ton. So you gotta like figure out which one you're believing.
Yeah, which timeline are we actually on? Yeah. So anyway, he talks about his resentment towards Theresa, and Theresa tries to convince him like Ethan's not as bad as you think he is. Like he's a wonderful
resentment
man.
toward Ethan.
What did I say?
Theresa. He has no resentment toward Theresa. That's why I was like, wait, when did that happen?
Let me say, Theresa and Fox talk about Fox's resentment towards Ethan. And Theresa is trying to like go to bat for Ethan. She's like, oh, he's a wonderful man. No, he's not, girl.
Yeah, at one point she's like, it's not like Ethan turned out to be some spoiled brat who thinks he deserves things without earning them. Yes, he is.
Yes, he absolutely is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, no. And we will not be discussing that further. Yes, he is.
Yeah, like, we all know. We all know.
There's nothing to discuss here.
Yes.
So yeah, he's like, she's like, he's a wonderful man and he's not as bad as you think. I know you have your reasons for resenting him, but he's wonderful. And Fox is like, you wear your heart on your sleeve, Theresa. And Theresa, then we start talking about love. Theresa goes, love is a wonderful thing. And Ethan and I share a great one, an eternal love. We now have moved into one of Theresa's little loony loops, which was enjoyable for me because she was just like, it was as if nothing had happened downstairs with Ivy, right? Like she's talking about like love and fireworks and Ethan and I share a love that will stand the test of time. And it's like our love is like fireworks that never go out on the 4th of July. And like, girl, calm down. But again, I will say she is definitely drunk. She's definitely drunk. Where was I? Theresa tells him about the love that she and Ethan shared, her.
And Fox tried to keep her grounded all the time. Like, yeah, but he's with Gwen.
Fox
married
is
Gwen.
Great, even though I ship Fox with Whitney more so than with Theresa, Fox would be a great match for Theresa.
Oh, I shipped them when the show first was. I was like, this is perfect. Leave Gwen and Ethan alone. Hook up with Fox.
Fox.
He's your match. He's more of a match to you than Ethan. Yeah, both
You know
think
what's
very
crazy?
similarly.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I feel like if they actually put her with Fox and like kept it that way, I genuinely feel like down the road, because crazy friendships happen, Gwen and Theresa could have become like frenemies. Could you imagine
Ivy
the
and
chaos
Rebecca
that would
type?
ensue?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Ivy and Rebecca coded. I think so
Mhm.
too. I think if this, I honestly, it's possible that if this show had gone on long enough, Fox and Theresa would have ended up kind of getting together at some point, and like we could have seen all that. Because like think about a show like Days of Our Lives has been on the air for like 6 years, right? Sammy had so many husbands. You know what I mean? They just after different years, they end up in these different weird situations. At one point, Rafe was with Hope.
Nicole.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rafe and Nicole. He hated Nicole at one point, and then they were lovers, best friends, lovers. I don't really know what the hell they are now after
Rafe
the
and
last
Nicole.
bout. But
I saw that and I thought that was weird. You know,
I did not like that one.
Even Nicole and Eric, I didn't care for either. I was just like, ugh, God.
It felt too
I
forced
liked them
every
together,
time they came on
actually.
screen.
I love them with Eric.
But you like Nicole.
I do like Nicole.
Which makes so much sense. Like, it's so interesting because I cannot stand Nicole. I haven't
But I
watched
do also love Sammy. We do agree with Sammy. So
Sammy is the GOAT. Like, you can't not love Sammy. Like,
you have to love Sammy.
Yeah, Sammy's the GOAT. Oh, God. Anyway, we're off topic on a different soap. Back to Theresa.
I know.
and
We
Gwen.
should talk about it sometime, though, because I'm actually a fan of both Sammy and Nicole. Nicole now, not old Nicole. Nicole now.
I was about to say, I don't think that that's that crazy because when I started watching like more recent episodes, I saw Nicole, like there was like the whole thing with her baby. They basically did the same thing with her that they did with her, what she did to Sammy, somebody else did to her. And I was like, you know what? This Nicole is tolerable. But yeah, back when she was like sniffing up EJ's ass and like, no. I didn't like that Nicole at all. You know who I loved? Kate. Is Kate still on there?
Oh, yes,
Kate was the OG female villain.
It was
OG female villain.
And it's so interesting because Kate hated Sammy, but I loved both of them so much. I loved both of them so much. And I think part of it was because they were very similar women, but also, and it's kind of like Theresa and Ivy. Like, because I do like Ivy. I don't like her as much as I used to like Kate, but I do like Ivy. I can appreciate Ivy. I respect Ivy as a woman, you know, who's got drive and tenacity. And so I think of Sammy and Kate were kind of like Theresa and Ivy are, I think, like very, you know, at each other's throats, but so similar actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Do you remember Kate and Roman's wedding? Where they were like, oh, does anyone have...
Yes, I remember Kate and Roman's wedding. I remember when they got together and I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got back together after Roman had found out that she drugged his daughter and put her naked in another man's bed. I was like, that is a daddy foul. You might be able to live like copacetically in town, but you do not marry the woman who did that to your child.
Let's be clear. Roman was never much of a father. Roman was never much of a father. It was years before I even realized he was Sammy's father. Like, I was like, he's her dad. Oh, okay. And it's like, yeah, he was never much of a father. But we went on a detour.
I know. We're like talking about whole other stuff. I do want to at least say I want to give an OG shout out to Vivian, one of the best female villains in daytime history.
Yes, Vivian Alamane. I hope she comes back soon. Oh, yes. I love her.
Burying Carly alive.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God, yes.
Oh, my gosh. Vivian,
I love me
Kristen
some Vivian.
DeMira.
Oh, Kristen
Crazy.
I don't like this Kristen. I miss the old Kristen.
Yes.
Eileen Davidson.
Eileen Davidson.
Yeah,
I think later on when Theresa does the whole, nanny, I think it was because of Eileen's character when she was playing the nanny.
Her, like, twin or whatever, who wasn't her twin. Yeah. Who's
Yeah.
You know, while
the
we're
one
on
who was actually
EJ's
pregnant.
father. Yeah, EJ's father.
EJ's mother.
I mean, mother.
Yeah.
Sorry, mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, while we're on female badasses, Carly from General Hospital, freaking love her. I mean, I think they've letting her go a little bit, but she's freaking amazing.
I never watched General Hospital. I'm so sorry. I wish I could.
God.
I wish I could. You know,
That
my
was
tube
NBC
soaps.
only.
Yeah, my tube soaps were Days and Passions. Those were my soaps. And then, like, you know, Degrassi, which is not really a soap. I mean,
It kind of is.
It is.
Degrassi's
Degrassi's so good. It goes there. Anyway. We gotta
Back to Passion.
We need to go here. We need to be here. Back here.
Yes. Yes.
Focus, people. Focus.
Sorry.
Okay. So,
You're welcome on the extra long episodes, fans.
you knew if Maria's coming, she's not going to let me do less than 4 hours.
Nope.
She's not gonna do it. Okay, so oh my God, we have so much still to get through. So let's get through the rest of this, and because we still have to do all the stuff with Kay.
Don't rush me.
Girl, I'll let you have your moment with them two over there next door.
Yay.
Fox,
You don't have one clip, I bet.
no, but I also don't have a clip of these two. Oh wait, yes I did. Oh wait, no I didn't. No I don't. I don't have a clip of these two either. So it's
okay.
It's
evens
it's
out.
equal because I felt like the
Okay.
conversations that we're having on both sides of that door were equal, like equally unimportant.
I thought it was kind of important because Ethan was making a lot of professions.
Ethan
But I
was
think
telling
it's
a lot of
important.
lies, but we will get there.
Ethan makes the same professions every friggin' week and still ends up Teresa's ass somehow. So
Yeah,
his professions mean nothing to me.
We'll get there.
We'll
We're
get
almost
there.
there. We're almost there, and I'm going to let you take the reins. All right. So yeah, this is the point when Fox tells Theresa that, you know, he grounds her a little bit. He's like, "Hey, you're talking all this good stuff about Ethan, but he's next door fucking his wife, his wife.
Pregnant wife.
They have like a future together. They're like, where does your great love that you're talking about, where does it fit into that?" And Theresa says his marriage to Gwen is just a curve in the road, a detour in our future together. She sounds just like Ivy. And so Fox draws the same parallel I just did, saying like, don't you think that's exactly what Ivy's doing with Grace? Isn't that the same thing my mother's doing with Grace and Sam? And Theresa goes, I hate to admit this, but Ivy and I had a conversation once about her going after Sam. I told her that we weren't very different and she'd do anything to get Sam, not letting anything stop her. And that's the way I feel about Ethan. Nothing's going to stop me. Certainly not Gwen. She says, I don't know why she wouldn't agree that in so many ways we're both the same. She swore up and down that she was nothing like me. And then she said that she'd never let me have Ethan. And then she goes, well, she paid for that tonight. Got her butt tossed out of the mansion. It's like, yeah, I mean, Theresa was holding that grudge for sure. Mm-hmm. So, but Fox says, yeah, mother's gone, but at what cost, Theresa? Theresa goes, what cost? Girl, wake up. Wake up.
Wake up.
Are like, we're having a conversation. Where are you? Earth to Theresa. Earth to Theresa.
Yeah. How drunk were you? The man literally said, I'm going to go upstairs and talk about moving out of the mansion.
Right. But, well, Theresa takes it as a veiled, like, it's not real. And again, I think she is quite drunk. But Fox basically brings her back to earth. Is like, hey, tossing my mother out of the mansion tonight has come at an incredible price, Theresa. Like, I don't know how you haven't realized it yet, but like, Ethan, you've lost Ethan forever. He's never going to forgive you for this. She tells him she's wrong. As she tells him he's wrong, she's right. She's correct. Ethan, of course, is going to get over this, get past this. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the next 5 years of what we have, right? Mm-hmm. So she says, me and Ethan share a bond. And Fox says, well, you may think you mean the world to him, but the fact is he's married to another woman and he has only one mother, a lady confined to a wheelchair who you tossed out into the snow. Now, Fox is really spitting facts, and I agree with Fox. This to me is like a fair assessment of the situation, but he doesn't have all of the information that Theresa has, and all of he hasn't been there to see all the back and forth between them. So, but any rational person,
even if he did, he's not saying it to her from like her point of view. He's saying it from Ethan's point of view, which is this is how Ethan is seeing the situation. You're throwing out his disabled mother.
I also think
he's not going to forgive you for that.
I also think he's saying it more from just like a rational person's point of view. You kicked his mother out into the snow in her wheelchair, and you think that he's going to be like, oh, just be okay with that at some point? Because I can tell you right now, I would never forgive her for that. I would never forgive her for it. Right?
And
like,
it's not the
if
first
it was
time.
If it was my mother,
after.
If it was my mother, and I would just be like, you know. But again, I would have gone with my mom.
She's gone after Ivy in her wheelchair. She disabled her wheelchair twice already.
But to be fair, Ivy disabled her own wheelchair too.
Well, yeah.
Like I said, they're so much alike. No, he tells her, like, girl, I think you might have fucked up royally. Like, you're talking about this true love. He says, I don't know much about true love, but I do know my half brother. And no matter what you say about destiny or fate, he's never going to forgive you for what you did to mother tonight. Great job, money, power, wonderful son. You've got all those things, Theresa, but you don't have Ethan's heart. Not now, not ever. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He's making sense, but we know we know how Ethan is. You know, we know how he is.
He is a bit wishy-washy.
Yeah. So
like she's drunk, but she also remembers like all the other times he said, "We're done, Theresa. I'm never gonna forgive you," but yet still manages to end up back in her orb.
They fall into a familiar pattern over and over again. So, yeah, let's go on to what's going on with Gwen and Ethan. You want to take it away?
Sure. So they go back into the room, and Ethan is still kind of like in this, I can't believe this is happening, that he can't get over that Theresa did that tonight, and so unlike her. And Gwen is like, no, it's exactly like her. This is who she is, because Gwen sees a side of Theresa that Ethan doesn't see, because Theresa goes in at Gwen, and so Ethan doesn't see that. And it's actually almost vindicating that it's like Gwen can actually show him what it's like when you're not around, how she can actually be.
Okay. I don't disagree. I will counter and say that Gwen does the exact same thing. Yeah. That's my only ad. You can continue.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He still's like, I'm not trying to defend her, but I didn't realize how far my mom must have pushed her to it. And Gwen's like, nope, doesn't matter what Ivy said about Theresa or her baby or her family. There's no excuse for throwing her out into the blizzard in a wheelchair. You know, legally, yes, this is Theresa's house, but morally look at it as, you know, you have to admit to yourself that Theresa is a holy terror. Not only did she cause you and your mother deep pain by forcing Ivy to leave the house tonight, but just think of what she's going to do to Grace Bennett. Grace despises your mother. She has always thought of Ivy she always knows that Ivy's after your husband. So just think how she's going to react when Stan walks in to the house with Ivy and announces she's spending the night.
Okay.
I mean, the fact that she's sort of like defending Grace in that moment.
If I could intercede real quickly, though, that was not on Theresa. That was 100% on Sam. Theresa even said, please do not do this.
Yeah.
Like, you are going to hurt your wife. You're going to cause issues in your home. She is a snake. Yeah. Sam was like, I don't got time to figure out anything else. Let's go, Ivy.
No, that right there was Gwen. From Gwen's perspective, Gwen hates Theresa. So everything is going to be Theresa's fault. She can find a way to spin it to be Theresa's fault. And I'm going to be real with you. I understand that because I too know how to spin anything to make it somebody else's fault that I hate. Right? I will spin the fuck out of it. But it is stemming
from the fact that Theresa is kicking her out. Yes, that she has great motives, but those are the facts. She kicked her out.
Which
kicked her
stems
out.
from the
Sam
fact
didn't
that
have to-
Ivy had zero respect.
She kicked her out, but Sam didn't have to take her to his house. That had that's
Well,
a
he
stretch.
didn't
It's
feel
a
like
stretch
there was nowhere else to go.
It's a stretch and a reach. It's a stretch and a reach. That's all I or Michelle, I think, are saying, is that it is a stretch and a reach to say, look at what Theresa's doing to Grace Bennett. Theresa's not doing anything to Grace. Nothing. Ivy's doing something to Grace. Ivy's doing something to Grace. Sam is doing something to Grace. Theresa literally has nothing to do with that situation at all whatsoever. She called the police to come and do the police's job, and the police decided to take the perpetrator to his home. That's what happened.
Yep.
That's what happened. So the other stuff, fine, whatever. And again, I don't care that Gwen is saying all of this. Gwen hates Theresa. Of course she's going to try to paint.
Yeah.
She's trying to paint her as negatively as possible to.
But she's
Ethan.
trying to get him to open his eyes to actually see how Theresa can actually really be.
Yeah, I mean, I have long said that Ethan has an idealized version of Theresa in his mind. There's a certain version of her that he really, really likes. The virginal, like the naive, you know, the little girl who doesn't know anything, needs so much help. The wounded bird. He loves that version of her, and I do think that was that false version of Theresa that he has like made in his mind was shattered tonight. I do think that was already. I think Gwen doesn't even have to necessarily give him this speech, but she's just trying to make sure that he understands, like, this is how I felt about her this entire time. Right. Yeah. And like, and I also think
he's like, I guess you're right all along. Teresa's not the person I thought she was.
Yes. I think part of this too is like she has been waiting for the moment when she can kind of be a little more open, because Ethan does defend Theresa a lot.
He does.
And she, unfortunately for Gwen, that means she has to walk this fine line with Ethan where she's pretending that she doesn't hate Theresa as much as she actually hates her. And she has to pretend like she's like, yeah, I don't like her, but you know, it's fine, whatever. No, I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about her, exactly who she, and I'm glad that you're finally seeing what I've been seeing all this time. I get where Gwen is coming from. Of course, I disagree on basically everything, but
from Gwen's point of view, this is who Theresa is to her.
Right. This is who Gwen is. I mean, this is who Theresa is to her.
Because, you know, one of the things also is that for me, and this is why I never got the whole Ethan and Gwen love story, Ethan and Theresa love story, was from the beginning, Theresa was not being honest as to who she really was. There was always a lie. There was always something. She was always portraying herself to be someone that he never knew that she had an obsession over him. He never knew all the things that she was doing to be around him and everything. And every time he confronted her about the feelings, she denied it. She made up a boyfriend. So he never knew who Theresa really was.
When he fell in love with, he didn't care. When he found out, though, he didn't care. Go. Yeah. What'd you say, Michelle?
I would counteract that. Like, he didn't know about her crush. He didn't know he didn't really have a boyfriend. But everything else that Theresa presented about herself, that was the true person that Theresa was. I didn't really even see as, oh my gosh, she's so sneaky. She's telling all these lies. I see as, okay, this high school girl is not ready for her crush to know that that she's into him. And then even when she did come out and say, yes, I do have feelings with you, he didn't run away from her. Like, yeah, he tried to be like, oh yeah, I don't really feel that way about you. But down the line, he really seemed to feel the same thing. And I would also counteract that with, while I understand why Gwen is saying what she's saying now in this moment, the same can still be said for how Ethan perceives Gwen, because this man saw Gwen come into her house with a bat and had Pilar locked in a closet and had completely lost it. But to this day, he still doesn't know what Gwen is capable of. And honestly,
he saw her do it,
but yet never once stopped for 1 second that Gwen could have been behind the magazine. He thought Rebecca maybe, but would never think that Gwen could have turned in the tabloids. He doesn't know just how bad Gwen can get with Theresa either. That's like my big thing. I don't even think that's on either lady at this point. I just think Ethan sees what he wants to see.
Yeah. Ethan sees what he wants to see. He creates the reality that he wants to be true. As far as the baseball bat situation, I think in that moment, Ethan just felt guilty about it. He had fucked Gwen over. Frankly, I think he was just glad she wasn't going at his head with a baseball bat, right?
She should have.
And she should have been. She should have been. But yeah, I can agree. I can agree that Ethan definitely has versions of both of these women that he sees and has created in his own mind. I don't know. I think this is one of those things where it's just, it depends on whose side you're on. It depends on which side you're on, how you see it. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I understand why Gwen is making this speech to Ethan. Well, you know what? Go on, and I'll say what I don't understand when we get there.
I think it's a vindication because she's been saying similar things since even before, when she suspected that Theresa had a crush, and Ethan kept shutting her down and shutting her down. And it's like, finally, like, would you see this girl for who she really is who I've always seen her to be. Remember with the boyfriend thing, he even told her, Theresa, if you don't have a boyfriend, then we can't really hang around with each other. And that's where Chuck came around, because we needed to produce a boyfriend so that he would believe that she doesn't have feelings for him. Like, there's been so much, like, underhanded or like untruthful things around her from the very beginning that Gwen caught her on. Like, Gwen was on her case, and Ethan was just making her feel stupid because he was believing Theresa's lies.
Well, here's the thing. Of course Gwen caught on. Gwen's smart. Theresa was doing teenage girl level hijinks, and Ethan wasn't understanding and wasn't figuring it out. Of course Gwen saw right through it, right? This isn't even like just this isn't even a rebuttal to you. It's just an add-on, a comment to it, which is that Ethan is an idiot. He's so stupid, and always has been.
And another add-on, again, like, I agree, she did catch on to what Theresa was doing, but the problem was, even if Ethan didn't believe Gwen, he still should have been like, okay, but clearly how much time I'm spending with this girl is making the woman I love uncomfortable. I'm just going to back away a little bit. He didn't have to believe that Theresa was, up to something, to have the basic respect to just put up more boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like a big thing for me. He should have, just that alone, he should have more respect for whoever he is with at the time.
Yeah. He's awful. He's absolutely awful.
He is. So there was a nice little moment, at least for me, because he tells Gwen, thank you. And she's like, for what? He's like, for being supportive with all the craziness that went down here tonight. You were steady as a rock. You were quiet as calm. And Gwen's like, until we got up here and I went off a little on a tangent about Theresa. He's like, but at least you didn't do it in public. And that makes it easier for me, and I appreciate. Which is interesting, because so he knows how much Gwen hates her. He just doesn't want her to constantly be making a scene about it in front of everyone to make him uncomfortable, which is fucked up, actually.
Again.
He wants her to make herself smaller.
Yeah, there was hardly anything in this conversation that I deemed important.
Well, which is why I'm telling it. And at one point, he's like, you know what? Marrying you was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, he did. Well, so let's talk about where Gwen accuses Ethan of making excuses for Theresa, right? Because I can't remember exactly. Well, actually, he didn't say it, but I think she could feel it in his, like, well, I can't believe. And so she's like, don't you dare make an excuse for Theresa again. You've been making excuses for Theresa. And even after she cold-bloodedly threw your mother out of the house she's lived in for half of her life, into a snowstorm in a wheelchair. I don't care how Ivy mocked Theresa's ethnic background. What Theresa did is unconscionable behavior in my book. And after being shamed and browbeaten by Gwen, that's what I wrote in my notes, because that's what she does. Because didn't this pick up and they were like having sex? Isn't that what happened? They were like having sex.
No, they haven't gotten
it.
into bed yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, you're so tense, and that's when they then go to bed.
While they make love. That's my next note. Okay, yeah, and Ethan says, you're right. I guess you've been right all along. Teresa's not the person I always thought she was. Yeah. And then he says, yeah, marrying you was the best thing I ever did. Now let's go to them making love, because this is the part. I think this is what I was thinking about, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, there was problematic things that even I was like, So apparently he can see something's bothering her, and he's like, what is it? And she's like, nothing. And he's like, no, there's something, tell me. And she was like, well, this is stupid, Ethan, but you been nothing but caring and assuring, but for whatever reason, I'm still a little secure about Theresa. And Ethan's like, I'm married to you. You're my wife now. Not the best way to answering that. And she was like, I know that. It's just that earlier it was beginning to sound like you were trying to find ways to forgive Theresa for throwing your mother out of the house. And he's like, no. Gwen is like, sweetheart, that's how it sounded to me. It was like you were searching for some way to understand what Theresa did. And that really concerns me. I mean, if she could do something as terrible as throwing your mother out of the house and you could find a way to forgive her, look, the bottom line is, do I need to continue to worry about Theresa? Just worry if she still has a hold of your heart.
Mm-hmm. And then Ethan said, well, actually, I'm going to go back and then we're going to say what Ethan said to that. But I dislike that Gwen feels like there's something wrong with her having insecurities around Theresa. Of course, she should have insecurities when it comes to Theresa. And I hate that she feels like she shouldn't, like, oh, you've been nothing but reassuring and caring. That is not true, babe. He has not been nothing but reassuring and caring. As a matter of fact, about 2 weeks ago, he was going to marry Theresa. Of course, you have insecurities surrounding Theresa. And I don't have any problem with her saying that out loud to him when it comes up. I think I hate that she feels like she's like nagging him about it, but like, this is the consequence. I'm gonna have to nag you about it for a while because like, of course I'm insecure about it. Look at our history with her, and she's still next door. She's in the room next door. We're still here, and she kind of knows that he was gonna marry Theresa until finding out she was pregnant. And to just now, it did seem like to Gwen, to her perception, and frankly to the audience's perception, it did seem like he was about to defend Theresa, right? And like, they're supposed to be forming a united front, right? Yeah. So Gwen is completely justified in her feelings around Theresa when it comes to Ethan. Now, she asked him, does Theresa still have hold of your heart, basically, right? And he says to her, well, I made my choice and I'm sticking with it.
How romantic.
I love Gwen's response to this, though. What was Gwen's response to that?
Ethan is, I made my choice and sticking to it supposed to make me feel better? Because that's a shitty thing to say.
It was very shitty. Shitty. And she asks him, she says, so you didn't answer my question.
You didn't answer my question. And he's like, you asked.
Still have hold of your heart. So go ahead.
No, that's what she says. If Theresa still has a hold in your heart. So please, Ethan, a simple answer to a simple question. Does Theresa still hold your heart?
And he answers, I'm so sorry. This is a good answer. He says, I'm so sorry that well, actually, it wasn't a good answer. Actually, it kind of was, but now that I'm reading it, I'm like, actually, I hate any kind of apology that goes, I'm sorry that you feel. No. Apologize for what you did.
And what you said, yes.
Apologize for what you said and what you did. I'm sorry that you feel you even have to ask that question. I obviously did a very bad job of answering you before. Gwen, what I meant to say was, yes, when I was deciding who I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, who I wanted to marry, I listened to my head, but more importantly, I listened to my heart. And my heart told me that I was supposed to be with you and our child. You have my heart, Gwen. And,
which is
it
sweet.
appeases her.
But at the same time, you're still not answering the question, which is also kind of irrelevant because we already know that he's always going to love Theresa. Doesn't mean you have to be with Theresa. He is with you. He could still love her, but he's not married to her. He loves her. He's with you.
Yeah. This appeases her though. She accepts this. She accepts this non-answer to her question. Which is why Gwen will always get the short end of the stick, right? She will always end up with the bare minimum from Ethan because she only expects the bare minimum from Ethan.
But also with Theresa and Ethan, Gwen is hearing what she wants to hear. She's having confirmational bias and rooting out all the other stuff to hold on to the sweet nothings that he does. Because he does string her along.
Yeah. He loves her. The thing is, he loves Gwen. And like you said, he loves Theresa. You can love Theresa. And my thing is, she didn't ask, do you love Theresa? She said, does she hold your heart? I feel like that should have been a much easier question for him to answer because you can love someone, but you're like, no, but my heart, you have my heart. My heart is with you, right? But
and which is what he said to her.
Yeah. So
I almost wish Theresa's here to hear this thing because I think that's why Theresa sometimes is in La La Land. She doesn't hear Ethan saying these things to Gwen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she doesn't
hear that. Like, there will be times where he admits that he still has feelings for her. That doesn't help either, because every now and then, like when she really gets to him, instead of just saying, "Listen, I'm drawing the line. You and I are done. I'm committed to my marriage. I do love my wife." And she's the one I choose to be with. He says, okay, yes, I do love you. And yes, I did marry Gwen because of the baby. He drags on both of these women. And it's honestly, like, as an adult, it's gross to watch. Because he only gets worse with it.
Yeah.
He does get worse. But there is also a point where Theresa has to get some self-respect. He married someone else.
Yeah,
and I mean, you yourself said, once you're married, that's it. Why do you think you disabled Ivy's chair? You were going to go elope with him because, you know, once Ethan gets married, he's not going to leave and all that's going to solve everything once he's married. You just went back on all that bullshit. It was never about that. It was just you want your way.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Everybody in this show pretends they have so many convictions, but they're all willing to bend on their convictions at one point or another, right? Like, and I think, you know what? I know it wasn't intentional from Passions, but I think that's also just like part of life. You have your convictions, but you might find yourself at a point where you're like, I'm going to have to compromise what I believe is right. Sometimes there's no good choice to make. We've had a couple of those on Passions, right? Where there's just like, there's no good choice to make. But that doesn't really happen in this storyline that much.
No, not really. So, you know, at some point, Gwen's like, I love you so much. And Ethan says, I love you, only you. I mean, these are the things that Gwen is hearing from Ethan. Yeah.
Well, we have to move on, y'all, because we've been on this for a while. Because that's the end of that, yes?
There's a point where Ethan calls Ivy to check in on her, and she's as snug as a bug, and totally in her thing.
I put that in the stuff at Sam's house, so we can go on to magic, y'all. I'm gonna tell you, this might be a 3-parter because, like, we have been on this for so long, right? We started at 11. It's almost 4:00.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. A 3-parter. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're right, because just the whole K, that's an episode by itself.
I don't want to speed run it. I don't. It's so good.
And me neither. Whoa.
Yeah.
We're making history tonight.
Oh, Lord. I was hoping I would get off of here before 7:00. Jesus, that's why I started early.
Yeah. This week was, I guess, better than we thought.
At least tomorrow is MLK Day, and I have the day off. You too, Maria.
I have to work. I have to work.
I'm sorry.
I looked at my boss and like, ma'am, you're a woman of color. How can you stand for that?
Hello. All right, y'all ready to get into some magic?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Okay, people, we're into the magic storyline. We do get a Tabitha sighting this week, but it's late in the week, so we will get there. But I was happy to see her. It was fun. I actually have a Tabitha clip because I was like, we haven't had Tabitha in a while. So
yeah.
Let's pick up. Grace and Kay are having a heated argument about Kay trying to leave the house when the weather's awful outside.
Is this a third episode? Should you be starting from the start? Is it a part 3?
I don't know if I'm going to do a part 3 or not. Do you think it'll be long enough?
I don't know. You want to then
I
do
feel like we have like another hour and a half.
A few moments later.
All right, so that's it, I guess, for part 2.
We decided last minute there's a part 3.
I guess, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what... You're all living in the future from me now, so whatever turned out, and
we'll
that's
see what
it for part
decides.
2. This is it for part 2, maybe. So, yeah. Where can the people find you, Michelle?
Michelle Bless, author page and Discord.
All right, and where can the people find you, Maria?
On the Discord. Join the Discord. It's fun.
Join the Discord. You can also find me on the Discord, patreon.com/passionspodcast. Sign up for whatever tier you find most agreeable, and you will be able to join the Discord. So with that, you are my passion for life.